Hey gang, Jawad Sheikh here from TechFoo.com, here to talk to you about internet security and your mental health. Mental health has become a hot topic in recent years with a high number of high-profile celebrities and corporations championing the cause for more awareness of mental health issues. However, very recently, new studies have come out citing a link between mental health and your internet security. Some of the stats provided are very alarming. In an August 2015 paper published, researchers John Elhai and Brian Hall of the University of Toledo share their findings on data breach anxiety, in which they compare anxiety levels of what is called resting anxiety with anxiety experienced when a data breach has occurred to that person. Resting anxiety they defined as how the subjects felt at a given time, immaterial of what the subjects were anxious about. So anything unrelated to data breach anxiety they might have been stressing about, like money or mortgages or whatever, right? Data breach anxiety was defined as how anxious the subjects felt with specific events that were listed to them related to data breaches. And the following data breaches were listed to them and analyzed. There's instant messaging interception, email hacking, cloud storage hacking, social media hacking, personal information posted by others on the internet, sensitive photos posted by others, theft of internet account passwords, financial account hacking info, computer and phone access without permission, and GPS tracking without permission. So any one of those types of data breaches, they cited as a data breach anxiety stressor. So not surprisingly, financial account hacking was the highest stress level, in which they found that people suffered 5.35 times higher anxiety than the resting anxiety that they considered. Next being on the list being theft of internet account password at 4.71 times higher than resting anxiety. And computer and phone access at 4.4 times higher than typical resting anxiety. Now, email hacking came at about 3.96 times higher and GPS at 3.95 times higher, while social media came in at 3.5 times higher, and the lowest is instant message interception at 2.62 times higher. But note, all of these figures would indicate that the data breaches, which we are affected with personally, can cause much higher stress levels than the average stressor. What does that mean? That means that you may feel stressed about your personal issues that are going on in life, but all of a sudden if a data breach comes up, your stress skyrockets. That's the main issue to consider, and therefore more support is needed to handle the mental health side of a data breach than ever before. When tackling the area of data security, we also need to add support for mental health. That's what it means. So we should be taking care of ourselves mentally. Researchers also found that these people are feeling higher stress levels related to data breach anxiety, that they are not taking the steps to protect themselves using encrypted channels or VPN communications, which would suggest that more education and outreach is needed to educate the masses on the various secure channels that are out there to protect themselves. Furthermore, another study was conducted and published in March 2016 by researchers Yan Chen and Fatima Zahedi of Auburn University and the University of Wisconsin, respectively, that indicated that perceptions and behaviors differ between American and Chinese people when it comes to protecting themselves online. They examined individual perceived threats and their coping mechanisms. The coping mechanisms being to take protective actions, seeking help, or complete avoidance. So what does that mean? That means that we need to take a moment, use those VPNs, use those encrypted channels, or learn how to use them to protect ourselves online. It also means that there are different ways to cope with such a scenario, such as taking protective action, seeking help, or avoiding it altogether. And we're going to look at the pros and cons of how the American and Chinese people dealt with each of these scenarios. Now, researchers found that both the American and Chinese people shared similar perceptions for what threats are considered. However, the researchers also found that approaches of both peoples were vastly different when it comes to dealing with threats. Though the Chinese government controls the amount of negative information that is spread, Chinese users are still able to get access to the threat-related information and tend to find themselves exposed to it more. It makes Chinese people more sensitive to the idea of an attack that could be successful. In terms of how they cope, the Chinese are more likely to adopt seeking help or avoiding the issue altogether. Avoidance is defined as giving up and not even bothering to try at all. In contrast, Americans are more likely to take protective action than to avoid the situation, as culturally it is unacceptable for Americans to give up in American society. So giving up is always looked down upon. So that's why Americans will go down fighting essentially. Furthermore, when it comes to coping mechanisms, Chinese users are more likely to wait for the government to provide solutions to threats, whereas Americans are more likely to rely on the free market to provide solutions to those threats. So in the end, how does this affect you? Well, it's important to realize that we must all take ownership of our own and our society's internet safety. We need to take a proactive stance on how our data is managed and steps we can take to mitigate our loss of data breaches and attacks on our machines. Even taking the smallest steps of backing up our data, running antivirus or internet security software, or using more secure passwords can go a long way to helping reduce those stress levels. Programmers and software engineers can also take a stronger stance against data breaches by questioning why they need to have particular data or particular info on their users. Is it really necessary to have a user's birthday or their home phone number? Is that really necessary? So if you've ever been affected by a data breach, here are a few tips to manage your mental health. 1. Stay calm. Worrying about it night and day isn't going to do you any good and will only raise your blood pressure. All you can do is manage what you can and keep going with your life. Take action to mitigate the damage. It could be as much as hiring a credit monitoring service for a monthly fee, or changing your password, or having a look at how you manage your data. Can you do better? 3. Talk to somebody. Don't let fear and anxiety stay bottled up inside, as it will come out eventually, and most likely in the wrong way. 4. Accept that the data is now out there. If it's private information that you would have liked to have kept private, then accept that it's out there and plan for how you can handle the fallout. 5. Don't lose hope. All scenarios are temporary and will pass, whether good or bad. We seem to remember how quickly good things come to an end, but feel that bad things don't ever go away. Bad things do eventually go away, just like good things do as well, and will be forgotten. If you're at the center of attention in social media, well, eventually you will no longer be in the minds of your peers. Though we all know that the internet never forgets, people will stop caring after a while anyway. So until next time, stay safe online and keep your head in the game and take care of your mental self. I'm Jawad Sheikh for TechFoo.com. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.